Bear here with if that's the case, and my friend Brent and I were talking the other day about our Raspberry Pis and what we're doing with them. And when he found out I didn't have a case, he let me know that he is a case designer with C4Labs for Raspberry Pis. So, they gave me one of their Raspberry Pi cases to do a review on for you guys, so let's just get to the case. So as you already know, the Raspberry Pi is a very, very small computer on a board about the size of a credit card. And there's so many different things that you can do with this Raspberry Pi. Now, one of the things that you can actually do with the Raspberry Pi, though, is set it up to be a home theater system. So, from C4Labs is the Invasion case. The Invasion case is actually made in design so that it can be your home theater case for your Raspberry Pi. So what makes this particular Raspberry Pi case so great with home theater system? Well, one of the things that you might notice with your particular Raspberry Pi is that once you plug in your HDMI cable, it's really just a card at the end of your HDMI cable. So one of the things that makes this case so great for home theater system is the fact that once you plug your Raspberry Pi into a few different cables, such as your HDMI cable, your power cable, and your Ethernet cable, this really just becomes a card at the end of the cable. Most of the times it's kind of not sitting all the way down on the ground. Why is that? Because the balance of the card is actually shifted away through all of the cables that you've connected into it. The legs and the extra weight below, and the fact that the Raspberry Pi is not directly on the ground, helps change the center of gravity so that your cables will not dictate where your Raspberry Pi is going to sit or how it's sitting. You decide where you want it to sit and how it sits. With the case also came 3 heat sinks. 1, a 2, and a 3. And even though this is your home theater system, there's still a few things you might want to access when working on this. The 2 things that you probably want to access the most will be your Ethernet cable, so that you can actually plug in or out of your network, depending upon if you're going to move this from place to place. So that is a nice little spot here so that you can actually access the tab and pull it out, as well as your operating system or SD card. In my case, I was recently having the hardest time getting my operating system to work, and I realized I was using one for the Raspberry Pi B original. So I kept pulling out my SD card, reformatting, re-imaging, throwing it back in, and then I realized I'm not using an up-to-date image. My image was back from 2009, but how happy and glad I was that I could just pop off the top and pull out my SD card. In fact, while I was working on it, I really just left the top off. So one of the things I didn't realize about the top platform until I was actually assembling the case itself is that the top platform, it's blank. There's nothing here, completely empty, which is a nice look, and I will admit, is a nice look. However, had I known, I would have actually put the rubber mounts for the top platform on the other side so that I can see the Invasion from C4Labs logo on the top. So the case almost sits perfectly on top of my Xbox One. It does go over the heating vent just a little bit, but not enough for me to really worry about it. And there's enough room on the very top of the platform for me to set my wireless mouse keyboard. So if you're looking for a case for your Raspberry Pi B+, 2B, or 3B, I do recommend that you look into the C4Labs Invasion case for a home theater system setup. However, if you're still tinkering or playing with your Raspberry Pi, I don't recommend that you get one of these cases just quite yet. Alright guys, so if you have this case, the Invasion case from C4Labs, go ahead and comment down below telling me what your thoughts are on this case and how it works or doesn't work for you with your particular setup or build. So a big thank you again for my friends over at C4Labs for providing this case. As well guys, I hope that you found this information useful to you in making a decision as to a case purchase or not. So, go ahead and feel free to hit that like button if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it. Feel free to check out some of my other reviews or videos in which I have. And as well, if you wish to support this channel and help bring in more case reviews, feel free to also check out my Patreon channel. Alright guys, until next time.
See, that was great. Wasn't that great?